This man did a bump of coke in the car, so he's wilding. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is a late night story time. All right, and I'm be talking about my experience driving Uber. So I drove Uber for like a year and a half, and for the most part, it wasn't that bad. It was okay. I put in a lot on my car, of course, but it wasn't. It was a decent part-time job, whatever. And like certain times, if it was like a surge or whatever holidays, it would be pretty good money. Like when I got a new car, I had seen that, I don't know, I probably seen one of those like make $1,000 ads, because I'm a hustler, qualified to do something, and I get the job, I'm gonna do it. So it's like, especially like the fact that you could do Uber on your own time, like for me that was like, yeah. And I'm a night owl too, like I'm making this video at night. I would drive later. So time I drove, I made $200, I think, for like 2 days. So that's when I was like, oh yeah, we get to do this. Pretty much had like everybody around me start driving it, like anybody who could. When I showed them the $200, they always with it. So like, yeah, it was lit. You know, it was like and then for everybody, like I referred at the time, I would get $500, and like after their first like 100 rides, I think, or first 50 rides, something like that. But it was easy to get rides like on Uber versus Lyft. So it was great. It was great. Like some people I would give them the whole 500. Other people I would split it with, like take half. I don't know. Driving Uber, it was cool. You know, it was very convenient money, but it's like once it starts taking a toll on your car, after a while, it's kind of not really worth the money. So while I was driving Uber, like I would have guys try to hit on me and things like that. That's why I would usually look busted while I was driving, because I didn't want people to know that, I was a baddie. Just because, like, just for safety reasons, whatever. And I kept my toolie in the front, just in case somebody tried to act up. But it was like late. I don't know. I was like driving late. I'm always driving late. But this time it was like 3 a.m. late. And I was coming back from the city. What it's like now, before the update. But at that time, if you drove, like before you picked your rider up, you didn't know where you were taking them. So you could arrive somewhere 5 minutes away and end up having to drive an hour to drop off that rider. So you don't know, well, you didn't know. I think Lyft does it now where they'll tell you if, like, the ride is longer than like 30 minutes. I don't know. Late. I think I started driving maybe around like 10, because I was just being lazy and I didn't really feel like doing anything. So I just drove at night because I had I was able to do that. So it was late. I was coming back from maybe a New York ride. This is when I lived in New Jersey. And I had this rider. I had this request. It was like a man. And when it was late, I never really would accept male riders like that, just because, it's dark. Gotta keep my hand on a swivel. I'm a little girl, so like I just had to do things for my safety. A late request. It was like 2 a.m. But I'm like, all right, let me just see what it's about. Mind you, it was in Elizabeth. Y'all know that's from New Jersey. I probably should have knew better, but I didn't even think anything of it at the time. So I arrived to the address or whatever, and this guy comes out and a little girl with him. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I felt like safe. I felt like, okay, so he's just, a dad just trying to get home with his daughter. The first red flag was the little girl had to be about like 2 or 3. Like he puts her in the back seat and hops in the front. And normally when riders get in and they have small children, they sit in the back with them just to make sure that they're safe. So, it was late too. So I kind of was like, all right, well, maybe he just sits her back there all the time. And, there's been times where I had to sit my nephew in the back seat and not have a car seat. He made it out all right. So, I don't know. The car, and he's kind of like, I noticed it, but I just was like, all right, whatever. And he's like, could you stop at the gas station? I need to get a water. And I'm like, okay. That's fine, because we were passing the gas station. So he hops out the car and he's like, don't go nowhere with my daughter. And he goes into the gas station, comes out with the water. I look back at his daughter and she looks at me, and I'm like, what the hell do I do now? He's talking to me, and a lot of times, like, I have conversation, but sometimes I try to keep it short, sweet, turn up the music, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. No, not this time. Oh, what we were talking about, all I recall is him saying, do you mind if I do a bump? I said, what? What are you talking about? This man does a bump of coke right in the front seat. I never seen anybody do coke before. I never seen that. So I was just like, okay, you can't be doing that in here. Like, you can't be doing that. So, and mind you, this ride was like a 45-minute ride. I don't even know how I made it through, honestly. I don't even know how I made it through. So, I don't know what we're talking about. All I know is this man is like, he's wilding out. I look so good. I'm so beautiful. I'm so young. I'm gonna get to the point where I'm gonna have to suck some for some money. I said, oh, okay. I got it. So, and after a while, I started to think I was getting bunked, because I'm like, this cannot be happening. It's like, you look like a pretty girl, and I would hate to see you in that type of scenario, but, you gotta do what you gotta do. So, I mean, I got it. So if we could pull over and stop at a gas station, you could do something for me, and I give you $200 right now. And I'm like, what? At this point, I'm like, what the hell is going on in here? What the hell is going on in this car? So I'm like, you could just give me that $200. Man throws the $200 at me, and I'm like, take that money, pick that money up. Because at this point, I'm thinking about getting a knife and stab. And he's like going back and forth. He like touched my legs, and he's like, you look like you feel real good. You probably got a pink inside and not that black shit, like dark skin. I said, okay, wow. All right, now you're insulting black women. Okay, what else do we have? What else are we going to say tonight? So, this conversation, that's just a little bit of the details. He might have tried to touch my leg like one time, and I was like, don't touch me. And he's like, my fault. I don't mean to overstep. He didn't touch me again. Thinking about, going home to his child's mother, where I dropped him off at, and he's like, he just tired of having sex with her. She boring and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all right, well, like, you a smart one. At the end of the ride, when I dropped him off, he was like, you did a good job, you ain't crack, you ain't don't ever let a nigga disrespect you, ever. I said, okay, thank you for the advice. You have a good night, sir. Yeah, guys, so that was like my craziest like Uber experience in a nutshell, because my man's was wildin'.